Welcome to Jesus Possibilities Worlds, where impossible is possible in the name of Jesus. Together, we can change the world. Hallelujah. In Jesus' holy name, I have united my dear father and mother, brother and sister, aunties and uncle, all into it. As we begin to say, we want to confirm if you passed by. Indeed, you are here today. Let's go to our question. One young man was born within the land. I repeat, one young man was born within the land. As the young man grew up, he came into the age of 20. Is still looking for a woman that he want to get married. As he arrived into the age of 25, he realized that his father is the king of the land. He realized his own mother is a queen of the land. As he began to recognize, people are calling him prince as the upper hand. Well-recognized young man is the only son in the kingdom and two sisters. This young man been seeking for a wife everywhere that he traveled because they are king. They have money. He travel everywhere. He sees different types of ladies, but there's no one ever entice him that he may own a home with him. This young man has been traveling everywhere. There is no lady. A day arrived. One lady who used to be in that kingdom went into the city. Years has passed by since she was 5 years old. The woman returned at the age of 25. This young man is 25. They never met. But the young lady was born in the land that the prince is holding down as the upper hand. It is a question. As the day arrived, that lady came into the kingdom. This young man every day, he walked everywhere within the kingdom. Said he traveled and he never find one. Now he have come back home to his kingdom. Every day he go outside seeking for something that can entice him. As these things been taking place, years as passed by, this young man came into the age of 26 and the lady is 26. As they sees a day arrived, this young man was walking into his kingdom, three God in position. The lady want to know the land since she was living. She was 5 years old. Now it's beyond human expectation. And he been on the corner side for another extra year. But this young man never sees her. It is a question. As he sees, this young man was walking in his kingdom. As he sees the lady from the distance, the young man stood, begin to scan the lady from the distance. A magnet can only catch certain. The young lady feel it in her body. Somebody has put attention. As she begins to look around, he sees a young man stood with a crown in his head as a prince. Three young men beside him. He put attention into the lady. It is a question. As they both begin to look into each other in distance, nobody's talking. Young man walked into the lady and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" The woman confirmed, "I am doing good." He said, "If I can mention any name that can subscribe you. It could not be a strong name. And I see you. Everything within me move that you can be my wife. The woman turned and says, as I feel it, somebody is watching me. It is a question. I feel it that there's something. This is beyond where I've been traveling. What is this? It is a question. The young man says, I tell you, I love you and I want to marry you. The lady says, I don't know you. He says, let me tell you, you will know me. It is a question. And he sees, young man went into his kingdom and tell his mother and his father and says, I found a good woman that I want to get married to. King was so glad to hear such, and so do queen as well, and the two princes in position. Everybody was in the kingdom were so happy to hear such because they never hear prince speaking. I want to own a wife, but the hour has come at the age of 26. As people begin to hear who is that lady, they find out that kingdom is so poor. They barely eat 3 times a day. But they're happy. They have no problem. As king begin to close his eyes, say, hey, this can be. Not when I'm a king in this kingdom. You must get married to the daughter of a millionaire or a daughter of a king like me. The young man said, let me tell you, I travel and there's no woman that I have seen such as this lady is the one that I want. As people begin to go down, men came from nowhere, 8 men. They want exactly the same lady. Since they heard the prince is interested, many men who have money in their pocket want the same lady. My dear father and mother, every day they kidnap the lady. Other parties take the lady. They don't want to kill her, but they want her to love those men. And they say, no, I love only that prince, nobody else. Every day, this lady loves, whether it's outside at home or inside at home, people will come from nowhere and take her. 5 days later on, they find her again, and 3 days later on, somebody else came and kidnapped her. My dear father and mother, love of color. It is a question. A day arrived that they told to the prince, you're not allowed to leave this palace. You're not allowed to go outside. You must be within this palace. You're not allowed to be close to that woman, or else I will say something that you may not like. As the prince tried to take 2 days, is not seeing the lady. Every day is thinking about the lady. The lady is doing the same. A day arrived that the prince himself wake up on the 3rd day and called everybody within the land. As all of them came, he said, today I'm speaking, and that would be the end of everything. People say, what do you mean? He said, today I decease to be a son of this king. It is a question. Today I decease to be called a son of this queen. Today I decease to be part of this kingdom. I don't want to be called anything. All of you are dropped. I'll go outside there and find a new name. It is a question. As people try all they can, this prince said, "It's done. I must go outside and get that woman." As the young man went, he found the lady safe and sound. He told to the lady, "Today I am not a prince, and everything that is concerning that kingdom, I'm no longer part of it. Let me tell you, nobody in the world or as woman ever moved me, but you did." The woman looked into the man and said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I have nothing, but you and me are something. Now since I left my kingdom, I must go and find life. But when everything went well, I will come back." The lady said, "No, I must go with you." As the lady tried to represent that message to the father and mother, you cannot imagine, everybody said no. Everybody within and outside said no. Since he deceased to be a prince, you will find another husband. She said no. It is a question. As people try to do all they can, this woman moved and picked up a knife and said, "If I'm not allowed to follow this man, I will kill myself." The father looked into his daughter and said, "Don't do it." He said, "Let me tell you, if I'm not allowed to go, I will kill myself. Get ready to bury me." As people looked into the lady, she's serious, eyes turned red, everything turned different. They let her go. My dear father, as we say, it is a question. This young man and his girlfriend went into the kingdom, different kingdom. The prince's father called 7 kingdoms and told them, "Nobody born a woman is allowed to have my son. If you do it, I will deal with you." Everywhere they go, as they see the prince, people run away from him. Nobody want to help him. His father's word is final. My dear father, as 6 months has passed by, these two are together. Every day this woman wakes up and says, "Are we going to sleep here again?" The young man says, "Yes, with love we can conquer." Every day for 6 months, if she wakes up and says, "Are we going to sleep here again?" The young man says, "Yes, with love we can conquer." As 6 months has passed by, I tell you, woman is pregnant. It is a question. As the woman is pregnant, this young man is doing all he can to feed his wife. Whether he's married or not married, they're still together. I tell you, a day arrived. One of her friends, this young man, girlfriend, one of her friends moved out years ago in that land and is living in that land that they just moved in. They met up beside the river. As they met up, the lady looked into the other lady and said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He said, "Hey, I've come to live in this kingdom." "Really? Why?" He said, "Yes, me and my husband, we left the kingdom." "Who is your husband?" He said, "The prince, but it is no longer a prince." The lady said, "Hey, this love will kill you. Let that man go and go back to your home. That baby can be named under anybody. Go home. Don't make yourself hungry." Every day that this lady come into the river, this woman find that lady seated, waiting for her. Yes, she will come today. And the same message, he repeatedly saying it. As 7 days has passed by, message began to run into this lady's mind. Wake up the next day and told to the man, "Let me tell you, you are not a prince. That means you are nobody. You have no father, you have no mother. You are nobody. My friend, indeed, wake me up. The young man says, all of these, I done them because of you. He said, let me tell you, from today, I am going back to the kingdom. I don't know you and you don't know me. My dear father and mother, brother and sister, 1 month left for that lady to deliver. And the lady went back to his kingdom and says, from today on, nothing that called that young man is part of me. I don't want him anymore. I have suffered. They say what? Say I have suffered. Because of him. I can barely feed. I can barely eat. I don't want him. My dear father and mother, as the lady give birth, it is a question. As the lady give birth to the baby boy, is still saying it. She doesn't want to hear anything that is concerning that young man. That young man left in that town with one orphan young man living alone. Years has passed by. He wake up every morning, go work and come back home. Now there are two. As this lady went back to her kingdom, life is so beautiful. She eat more than 3 times a day. This young man is still suffering because he doesn't have father or mother, doesn't have any sister or brother. So he's suffering in the name of love. As we says, it is a question, my dear father and mother, brother and sister, aunties and uncle. A day arrived that king himself is dead, and nobody in that land is qualified to sit in that seat. Only the king first seat, whether they like it or not, they must find him. 3 years later, they looked for this young man everywhere. They could not find him. My dear father, 5 years later on, this young man is 31. They find him. As they find him, everybody within and outside began to kneel and said, we've been suffering without a king. We look everywhere. You are the king. The young man says, no, my father disowned me and I disowned them. People said, hey, nobody is accepted to sit in that seat, only you. And we have no choice. As he came into his kingdom, within 3 days, they ordained the young man to be the king of the land. Is ruling the 7 kings apart from his kingdom. So 8 kingdoms under his hand as a leader. At the ordinate end, this woman heard about it and traveled from his house to the palace. It's about 2 hours. This lady traveled with a son and came and said, this is your son. You are my husband, my dear father and mother, brother and sister, aunties and uncle. Can you tell us down there, if you was the one, life has been updated. If you were the one, name had been renamed. If you were the one, history had been rewrite again. If you were the one, everything that you lost came back beyond your expectation. And the woman came on a special day that I've done such to you. You are the father. You are the mother. You are the brother and sister. You as aunties and uncle. Can you tell us what could be a word? What could be a word that you may speak to this woman represent as the father? Tell me, if it's your wife, 3 years has passed by, You never see her or hear anything about her. In the name you have made me suffer. This young man delete everything that is correlative because of her. Is going days without eating because of her. Is going to do things that he can never do in his life because of her. Can you tell me that is you? What would you tell that woman? Yes, you are welcome. Indeed, you are my wife. You are welcome. Indeed, you are my first love. Can you tell us as a king? Can you tell us as a queen? Can you tell us in your own understanding, what would you do? Yes, she have done it to you. What would you do? My dear father, you may be asking, why do this question come this way? Indeed, things that are happening in that kingdom, they're so small that you and that woman can fix it with no other third parties. You and that man, that thing that is disturbing you, both of you, living, lying to the living soul. I own a wife or I own a woman. While when the hour has arrived, every different parties are having their own rooms. Hey, it's too small to be fixed. Sit down, figure it out, all of them, whether a man or woman, all of them are the same. Since they all have the same name as women's, they all the same. Since they all have names as men, they all the same. Find life, many of them outside there seeking for life. There is no better person outside there. May God bless you. You tell us your understanding down there. One young lady was born with a land. Let's go to our content. One young lady was born with the land. As the lady came into the age of 12, they called her name that nobody owned in that land. Mama Queen, that is her name. Mama Queen. I tell you, this woman don't follow up with her name. As they call her Mama Queen, I tell you, she accepted and do things normally with no attention. Mama Queen begin to grow up with authority that says nobody is taller than her. It is a question, a content. As she sees many, they begin to distance themselves from her. She still approach them because she's ready to deal with you. Since you don't want to respect her as Mama Queen. As this woman took charge in her own life as Mama Queen, no man born a woman can say such a word that can disturb her all day or all night. And you cannot see her up. Mama Queen become a target in the land. Mama Queen become a target within the land. Men who love her, as they see her, before she open her mouth, they begin to distance themselves. They don't want that slap. They don't want that point. They don't want that push. This woman took charge to the point her own father never sit in that seat. To the point the leader of the land never sit in that seat. As she find out that you offended her as a queen, I tell you, she deal with you. She always wears short, ready to deal with people who are doing wrong. It is a content. As this young lady grew up, I tell you, came into the age of 25, is still on lockdown. No man ever asked her, what is your name, if you know what I mean. No man ever asked her, what is your name, if you know what I mean. People who willing to own that woman as a wife distance themselves. Mama Queen is dangerous. She doesn't say anything to piss you off, but as you begin to be beyond her expectation, I tell you, she deal with you. This lady prevented from marriage. Everybody was in the land. They scared of her. A day arrived. A man came from different land, moved to that land. A day arrived, and they met beside the road. The young lady is coming and the man is going. As they stood, none of them is saying a word. Two of them, none of them is saying a word. A magnet can only catch certain. Two of them, in the middle of the day, as they begin to look into each other. Few minutes has passed by, nobody talking. As they begin to make move while they're looking into each other. You cannot imagine walking slowly on this side and on this side. Everybody who sees them, they begin to be amazed. Are they all right? 3 days, every time they met, they looked into each other beyond the expectation, but nobody ever say a word. Every day, every day, every day, as the day arrived, young man, best friend says, hey, every time that I see you, seeing that lady, everything is updated. What is going on? He said, let me tell you, that woman changed everything, wasn't me. I want to marry that woman. The young man told him, yes, I see you. 3 days has passed by. So I begin to ask people concerning this lady. They say this lady, she's a champion. And her name is Mama. What? He said, Mama Queen. That's her name? He said, yes. He said, tomorrow I want to meet her. As the day arrived, this young man came. As they looked into each other the same way that they used to do, this young man opened her mouth and said, Mama Queen, may I be your friend? As Mama Queen began to look around, is he talking to me? The young man said, Mama Queen, I am talking to you. This woman thought that is somebody was speaking to her, because 5 minutes before this young man came, they had a small little arguing with somebody who just ran away. You cannot imagine 3 slabs landed into the young man's head. As he dropped, people begin to be amazed. What is going on? Why, what did you do, Mama Queen? What did you do? He said, I don't know. What happened? So you slapped somebody who said that he loved you. He said, what? He said, somebody will love you. He said, love. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. This guy dropped. And they brought the water, putting some water in that brain so that he can come back to life. This is the word that come out in his mouth. He said, I love you so much. Beyond a mother, beyond a father, I love you so much. The woman says, confirm, you will be my husband. When do you want to do marriage? The young man says, any day. 3 days later on, marriage took place. They don't know each other that much. They heard about each other. My dear father and mother, every day, before any breakfast, there must be a fight. Every day, before any lunch, there must be a fight. Every day, before any dinner, there must be a fight. You may be wondering, where did this content came from? Indeed, you own a man as your husband, but as you look at them, they don't mean anything. But you still lying under, I love them, when there's nothing in that brain. You are still in turn, I love that woman, when you are lying to the name, we are marriage. Let me tell you, even in the scripture, it is written, freedom is yours, is for people who seek for it. And I've come to tell you, if you don't know what called freedom, if you never see it or hear about it, even you are in it, you will never know that this is freedom. You will never know you or access into freedom. That small little thing that make you sleep in different room, that man or that woman, that small little conversation that you left or you both left in halfway is too small. Many of them are beyond your expectation. That thing that is not allowing you to see that woman or that man as the way that you see them. That thing, if it's somebody, he will laugh at you. If it's you, you will laugh at yourself. Days will arrive that you will know. You will know no man can marry his own mother. No woman can marry her own father. So as two of you come together, speak, tell them what is it that is running into that brain. Tell them any marriage without a conversation is doomed. Hey, come back to your sense. Allow others to speak. As they speak, you will speak. As both of you come to an end, there will be a solution. There will be a solution. May God bless you. Share and subscribe. Bye-bye.